So tell me if this sounds familiar to you. You met someone and you talked for a bit. Maybe you went on a few dates and you felt a connection. Then right as your hopes were getting up, poof, he disappeared into oblivion. Didn't hear anything, and you were eagerly waiting for some sort of some sign of connection, for him to reach back. You're waiting for a text, a phone call. Maybe you were even checking your own stories to see if he's checked them, to see who's checked them, if he's seen them, sent you a DM, nothing. Then a few weeks pass, you get over this pain to some degree and you start moving on with your life. You start to do your own thing. And then out of the blue, suddenly you get a message saying, hey, what's up? What are you doing? The ghost is back from the dead. Now, there's probably nothing more frustrating in dating than this. And for me, there's nothing that I've seen probably more often than this particular treatment. And so what I want to teach you in this particular video is why men tend to pull away and then they come back into your life. And I want to show you what you can do to stop attracting this, because that's way more important for me. So most people don't really understand this about changing their lives. But the first thing to making a huge change in your patterns, in your relationship story, etc., is taking accountability. It's personal responsibility. It's accepting what you need to do, because we cannot change what somebody else does or how they show up in our lives. We can't even change their actions. But what we can change is the kind of people and relationships and the situations that we continuously attract into our own lives. So rather than blaming men as a whole, what I'm going to teach you in this video is to taking a different approach, a more powerful, more empowering approach, one that can actually make change. And that approach is going to teach you how you can attract a much higher quality of life into your life, a much higher quality relationship, so that you won't have to worry about this problem at all when you're feeling that love. So step number one is understanding why we unconsciously keep attracting this pattern. So believe it or not, I'm going to tell you something really powerful here, that we attract the kind of love that we're used to. So the kind of love that we're used to is the kind of love we attract. It's the kind of love we go after in our lives. So let's say now we're experiencing this coming from a person, a man or a woman in a relationship who's showing up and then pulling away. Does this breed safety, security, stability, consistency to you? Not at all. Does this breed emotional health? No. Does this show someone who is emotionally available for you? Someone who's making commitment, who enjoys commitment and sees it as a value? Probably not. So now let's rewind in our own lives and look to see, okay, why is it that I'm attracting, or why is it that I'm settling for, or why is it that I'm allowing or accepting people who don't have a strong and healthy sense of commitment, who are emotionally unavailable in our own lives? And I want you to look back into your own life and see if this is a pattern. Look at your last 5 relationships, so to speak, and draw a pattern to see if there are people who have showed up for you consistently who are more emotionally healthy, more emotionally capable, or rather that they're not. You will see that this is probably a pattern, and this is unconsciously something that you find yourself in, and without stopping it at point number 1, you unconsciously, and I use this word unconsciously a lot, I'll tell you why, you unconsciously keep letting it roll forward. Now the reason this happens is because, like I said, this is the kind of love that we're used to. If you rewind all the way back to your childhood, all the way back to when you were trying to gain and connect with your parents, you may discover in working through this, which you may not have thought of before, that you had a parent who was not fully capable of giving you the love that you need. Now, it doesn't mean that this parent was abusive, doesn't mean that this environment had to have been chaotic. It could have been, but more often than not, it just means that your parent or your environment, having gone through their own wounds and their own stories, was not capable of giving you the love that you really deserve. Now, when you're a child, the challenge is you don't have a developed enough forebrain. You don't have the ability to make your own choice. You don't have the ability to say, well, fuck you then, I'm walking out of here and I'm gonna find someone who can love me. No, you are very dependent in your environment and to the people who raised you to give you love. So if they can't give you enough love that you need, what does that mean? It means that you internally process this entire interaction as rejection. You internally process this as it meaning that you're not lovable or valuable enough to receive the love that you need to have your needs met, because a little child doesn't have the brain capacity to know, oh yeah, you know, when my dad was young, he had all these wounds which shamed and judged his own emotions. His own father, my grandfather, was a bit of and he shamed these emotions out of him, so he doesn't have the capability. Oh yeah, my dad fought in 2 wars. Oh yeah, my dad, has always felt unsafe with emotional connection. That's why he can't love me or give me intimacy. You don't know any of it. As a child, you run up for a hug or love or care or protection or safety or commitment, and what you get instead is what your your father figure or your family was capable of. And that was not maybe healthy enough love. This is more normal than you think. This is something I've gone through, my partner's gone through, so many people around the world go through unconsciously, because everybody has their own stories. But the challenge here is that if we don't have a healthy enough education about love as we go along, we put this idea into our head and say, this is the kind of love that I'm used to, this is the kind of love that I know, this is the kind of love that I believe is what I deserve, and that's what we go after. And that's why even if we had emotionally healthy people come into our life or functional relationships come around, we push them away, because we don't think that that's the kind of love we're used to. Our brain functions and is wired in a certain way that says, no, I need the kind of person that I can prove myself to. I need the kind of person who's inconsistent. I need the kind of person I can depend on. I need the kind of person who keeps me hooked, then leaves me, and then comes back. If you really enjoyed these videos, then please like and subscribe, because I've got so many of these beautiful videos coming your way. I've got beautiful meditations, inner child reparenting meditations, subconscious healing work, all of that stuff that's coming out to you in videos, but you won't find them if you don't subscribe. So click like and subscribe and you'll get these videos delivered to you. So now I'm going on to the next point that I want to tell you, and I'm going to tell you a secret that no one else has told you about this particular pattern, about you attracting men who are incapable of providing you the love that you really need. And your nervous system is addicted to this feeling of this push and pull. That your nervous system is addicted to this feeling you get when people give you a little bit of love and they pull away, to the situation of where people can't really show up for you. So remember I told you that the love that we believe, or the love that we're used to, is the love that we keep trying to go after and attract into our lives. Now when you do this over and over again, your brain is the thinking part of it, your brain is the believing part of this experience, and then after that this passes into your nervous system, your body. So your brain and your body together make, like, and then we talk about the soul, make the, the human experience. But technically your body is actually a manifestation of your brain. So whatever your brain feels, how do you actually feel those things? How do you feel sad, happy, angry, stressed, whatever? Your body feels them, processes them. That's how you bring these emotions in. So now if your brain continuously is feeling that you don't deserve healthy relationships, or you're exposed continuously to relationships where parents or environments can't show up for you the love that you need, your body starts to process it and gets used to it too. Your nervous system starts to get used to it too. So now your nervous system starts getting used to, and therefore slowly addicted to, unsafe relationships or dysfunctional relationships. And so in these spaces, you're getting used to the stress that comes from holding out on someone, maybe showing up for you, maybe not showing up for you, coming in and then leaving out. The sense and the adrenaline that you get when they give you a little bit of love, and that morsel makes you feel fucking high. And then the depression that comes after it, of feeling so low when they don't reach out, you're also unconsciously addicted to it. So your body, your nervous system gets addicted to this stress and the anxiety that comes from not having safety. Your nervous system gets addicted to the stress hormones that run through your body, continuously keeping you in survival mode rather than safety. I just realized that when you came into this topic, you may have probably wanted a really simple conversation, and now you're getting something that's really deep. And I'm thinking to myself, holy shit, I'm giving them so much more than they may have even wanted. But that's the point. I want to lead you towards so much more, towards the real solution, rather than what you just thought a surface thing and being like, yeah, men are assholes, women are this, blah, blah, blah. No, I want to take you through how you can realistically solve it. So if you want to change this from happening, and we're going to go to this more into this in step 3, the first thing you need to do is also start to create more safety for yourself. Create more internal safety for your nervous system and for yourself, so that safety becomes the norm for what you expect in your life and your relationships, rather than the unsafety of people who can't show up for you. The hanging on a thread of people who don't really know how to love you or validate you or show up for you. So when you start creating more nervous system safety through meditations, breath work, through self-love, regulations, all of that, you start to create a standard of love or safety or connection that you expect. So much so that when you get into a relationship the next time, if someone gives you a morsel of love at the start, you no longer get hooked onto it. You start waiting to see, can they continuously show up for me? Can they show me consistency and commitment? And the next point, when they ghost or they don't show you, you immediately push them out without even waiting. The more you do this, the higher standard of love that you start to expect and have for yourself. So much so that you don't actually repeat those patterns anymore. And it all starts with creating that nervous system regularity, consistency, and safety. So now I'm going to take you into point number 3. And if this says, if I could take you all the way back to the beginning, something that's so important that I would tell you is that your self-worth is what really attracts these patterns. And so a lower self-worth tends to attract more dysfunctional patterns. And a lower self-worth is a manifestation of experiences which show you that you're not lovable and valuable, which is a manifestation of beliefs that you're not lovable or valuable, which actually is a manifestation of your nervous system believing that I need to go after situations that prove to me that I'm not lovable or valuable. So what's really important here for you is that you need to work on those huge wounds inside you that keep dysregulating your nervous system, the anxiety that keeps coming up, the stress that keeps coming up, the fear that I'm not lovable or good enough, the fear that I don't deserve to have a loving partner. When you're watching this, you're probably thinking, yes, I don't have those fucking fears. What are you talking about? Like, I feel fine. But if your actions are showing me as a therapist, as an analyst, that you keep attracting relationships that are not good for you, then truthfully the beliefs about yourself are maybe that you're not good enough. And these are deep down inside. That's why I keep saying you unconsciously keep manifesting this and unconsciously keep attracting these relationships into your life. So you need to go deep into working on nervous system regulation. You need to work on what we call core wounds. These are wounds that developed in your earliest childhood days when your subconscious mind is active, the impression of yourself was highest. These wounds which are affecting your inner child, which are deep, and if you learn to heal your inner child, you learn to heal these wounds and complete that cycle, so you have a much higher sense of self-worth that stops attracting men who push and pull or come in and then leave, and instead you attract a much higher quality of commitment from people, from men who show up for you, men who are emotionally capable of giving you the love that you need. But you have no idea about that unless you start to give yourself those things first. You start to soothe your nervous system so you can actually attract and expect and allow those things. You know what's so crazy is that if you don't do the healing, if I put you in a situation where someone could really love you and give you healthy love, you would push them away. You'd unconsciously sabotage the situation or the relationship, destroy it, not be attractive in that person, anything. Why? Because the feeling with them of safety doesn't give you the same feeling that you're addicted to in your nervous system around survival, not having my needs met, needing to prove myself, any of those things. So only if you learn to create that internal safety will you and finally be able to create an external standard of safety and love and commitment in your life from people. Now, if you want to take this deeper dive into this healing, into your inner child work that I talked about, so that you can think of like not only attracting a better love and a partner in your life, but overall you can have a higher sense of self-worth that creates better decisions, helps you draw better boundaries, all of it, then I made this video that I'm going to put up here where you're going to help and you're going to learn to understand how to do your healing with your inner child self. So click in this video. It's really deep and powerful work that you're not going to see anywhere else. And if you really enjoyed this, throw it in the comments. And if you really enjoyed this and you think it'll help someone else, please share it. I would love for this work to help make a change in people's lives and have the love that they really deserve. So click on this link again up here on inner child healing, and I'll see you in that video.